Home Alabama, that's the main riff. There's more than one guitar player, so the rock guitar player in the band doing these power chords, right? 10th fret, 12th fret, 5 string, 10th fret, 6th string. That's known as a D delta power chord. Just those 2 notes, right? So the chord progression for Sweet Home Alabama is D for 1 measure, or 4 beats, C for 1 measure, and then G for 2 measures. So we got D, C, which is down a whole step from the D. So if 10 is my D, then 8 is my C. And the root note is coming from my first finger. This is actually the name of the note, naming the chord, okay? And then my 3rd fret is a G. And if you didn't know where these were, if all you had was a piece of scratch paper that said D, C, G, G, as long as you know you tune this to an E note, you know, that's the tuning of the guitar, standard tuning now. E, A, D, G, B, E. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. The heavy strings are towards your face. The skinniest strings are away from your face. And remember that if you're reading tablature, on the note on tablature, you'll have 6 lines. The numbers on each line stand for what fret to push on that string. The lowest line is your lowest sounding string. So it's kind of confusing. When you look at tab, you would think that the first line is this one and the bottom is that, but it's not. When you're reading tablature, it's like doing it upside down. The highest string is the highest strings, which are these, and the lowest line on the tab is the lowest string, okay? So there's often tablature. Let me, for example, now, grab that paper, please. Let me just put that. I don't know, will it be reversed in the video? Is this reversed? I don't know if that's going to be straight or reversed when it plays back. But anyway, there's Sweet Home Alabama. You see how there it would say D for 1 measure, C for 1 measure, and then G for 2 measures. You know, there's a dun 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 dun, and then there's the tablature, 6 lines, right? And then of the 6 lines there, this is your skinny string, this is your heavy string on the bottom. And I put there D chord was your 10th fret, C chord is your 8th fret, G is your 3rd fret. And if you're going to do a 1-finger version of this to start out, you know, this is an awesome song. There aren't too many songs that you can't make easy enough for a beginner to start out playing and then use the song as a way to learn how to actually play the guitar. I don't like if guitar teachers won't steer the lesson for the student, you know, into the music that they like. They're the ones... Oh, I'm not going to get into that. That's a different video. That's philosophy. Let me talk about this technique here now. So to make the power chords properly, as with everything I do, I anchor my hand on the guitar. I'm usually putting my palm right about there on the guitar. And then I have a place to pivot from and a point of reference. You know, if the only place you're touching the guitar is over here with your arm, boy, you have a hard time memorizing where any of those strings are. You'll almost always have to be looking over here at your picking hand unless you can bring that point of contact in close. So putting a pinky down here, it's very, very important. Have a pinky. If you're not strumming on the first string, then hold on to that first string with your pinky. It really, I mean, everybody has such a good sense of where things are inside of the scope of their hand. So we must take advantage of that, you know. Put your hand on there. And then,
on this one?
Yeah, I put it like, yes, player's choice, whichever comfortable, right? I like it, yeah, that's perfect spot. And then you're picking between the pickups, you know, it's just a great spot to do it. And if you're back one, depending on the situation, some people on these kind of guitars, they'll put their pinky on the volume knob itself, because you'll see when you play a Stratocaster, my friend's here now, Lewis, he has a PV Stratocaster style guitar, and then now on his, you know, on that style, it's the volume knob is right here, so it's good for those kind of guitars. You keep your pinky right on the volume knob, and then you you kind of keep a little pressure on it, holding it on all the way, because the Strat style guitars are famous for, while you're strumming them, you accidentally bumping the volume knob and turning your volume down. I remember being on stage when I was younger, just starting out. I had a Strat. Oh, I have it right here. Let me just. I can't not show. I just have to. and then I love all my guitars. So, but anyway, this was the first good guitar I had as a younger man, or like I say, a young kid. I was 16 when I got it. I think in 10th grade in high school. Before this, I only had like imitation guitars. This was the first brand name guitar I got. The guy who sold it to my dad told him it was salmon, a limited edition salmon color, which sounds so cool. I like the name Coral better, but either way, to me, at 16, it was a pink guitar. I grew up in Pennsylvania in the mountains. Not quite the Boy Named Sue story, okay, but I had to learn how to play it, I guess, or else I couldn't be caught dead with it, right? Now, Key West, I'm 50 years old. I love it. I don't care. This is Coral. Thank you, Dad, for buying me a great guitar. Okay, so now, see on this kind of guitar, right? Look, see the volume knob is right here. So it's very common. You see that. If you watch the Masters, you know, Eric Clapton or this, any of these guys known to be just, you know, Yngwie Malmsteen, whatever. If their volume knob is here, their hand is usually on it, because as part of everything else, as part of the expression of the instrument, they're working that volume knob as they're going, if they want. But at least they're not turning it off by accident. So that's a good pivot point, a good place for a Strat style guitar player to rest their pinky. And then because of that point of reference now, I mean, you can easily memorize, you know, quickly within just a week or two. You memorize where all these strings are. You won't have to look at your right hand anymore. Now, if you're only over here touching the guitar and you're trying to do like this, I mean, I don't even know if you would ever actually become very accurate at because you're too far away from the point of contact. It's like if you're going to draw, or if you're writing something with an ink pen. I mean, you know, if you hold the pen way back here, and then you don't put your hand on the paper, you're not going to be real accurate. You know, not only is it better to hold it down here by the tip, but also you put your hand on the paper when you're writing. That's for a reason. You know, you're setting up a point of reference so that your fingers know how far away everything is, and then you create muscle memory because you're able to do it the same way every time. That completely and totally applies to the guitar. I don't know anything that uses muscle memory as much, well, that I do anyway, you know, muscle memory. Writing, cursive writing. Same idea here with writing, you know, you're making one letter at a time and building words. We're using one note to make chords. That's basically the same kind of language. We have 26 letters in the English language. This has 12 notes in it. You put a couple together to make small words. Just like when you're learning to write in the beginning, A, N, D, T, H, E, the words you're going to use over and over, very quickly, you no longer have to say T, H, E. Your mind just says the, and your hand goes. Same thing happens with the notes. At first, you're playing one note at a time, and then when you learn that these three notes together make the D chord, or these two notes over here make the D power chord, once your mind processes that, you say D power chord, bam, your hand makes it like you would have had written the. You know, I'm not doing, oh, I need this, then I need this. It just goes as a group then. And not only does it stop there, the more you practice, it just keeps growing. All of a sudden, then chords that you use together, that whole little move becomes like one move in itself, you know, like a longer word, let's say, or something like that. Or a phrase that you write all the time where we use words together all the time, similar, you know. It's very much a language. It's very much the same thing. Now, let's see here. Sweet Home Alabama. This would be, now, you know, a one-note version, it would be 10, 8, 3. And of course, I'm just picking the string that I'm fretting, okay? If I'm fretting both strings for the power chord, then I'm strumming both strings over here. Just aim that down. There we go. So much over here, yeah. And the count for for Sweet Home Alabama, I would say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's one way to count it. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, which I like. That's the way I have it written out on that piece of paper. I was just holding it up, hillbilly style, you know, rock on. And on there I have one measure of D, one measure of C, two measures of G. So one measure is 4 beats. So I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm strumming on the 1 and the 2. I'm taking the time that it takes to say the 3 and the 4 to move the chord. So I'm ready to hit it again on the chord change with the rest of the band, right? So one guy's going. So over that, you got bum, bum, bear now. Right? And the other guys, we're going. Din, din. And the other guys, din, 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 din. And we're going. And I mean, there's 3 guitar players in Lynyrd Skynyrd. Good God, I don't know how many layers there are. You could be hearing who knows how many guitars at one time. You know, the guy's doing this in the left speaker. And then they say, oh, hey, give us a clean sound now. Right? And then now let's run that in the right speaker. You listen back together. And the other guy's over here doing his, I don't want to do it exactly like the record because they'll claim my video on me and you know, what other advice I can give on that?
So you're going to send this to me?
Absolutely. All right. If you haven't already, please like the video. It really helps out. Subscribe to the channel. If it turns out for some reason you don't want to be subscribed, you can always just hit unsubscribe and get out of it. There's no commitment or anything, but it really does help us out here. It's Wayne Sorbelli. I'm down in Key West, Florida, my little music store, Island Guitar, the home of the Bone Island Music Crew, and I would be very grateful if you like, subscribe, drop some comments below. Constructive criticism, maybe even a little joke here and there. I could take it, okay? All right, I appreciate it. My buddy Lewis and I are sitting here, and I want to thank you, Lewis. Thank you, my friend. All right.